Suicide is currently the second leading cause of death for children and young people between the ages of 10 and 24. Each day in our nation, there are an average of over 5,400 suicide attempts by young people grades 7 to 12.
What suicide is to me is when a person isn't in a state where they can't just handle all the pressure they've been going through in their lives, and then they believe that to get out of it, suicide is the answer to it, but it's not actually.
Usually when I think about it in my ways or how I've experienced it, I feel like suicide is just I know that the definition is one killing themselves intentionally, and to me I also believe that, but I also feel that there's also factors that contribute to it.
Some factors that can contribute to suicide risk include previous suicide attempts, sexual orientation, depression, bullying, and cyberbullying.
We have a support suicide prevention team that has come to Catella, and they have given a talk on what the signs are, where to go, what to do. And again, our school, our APs have informed us of who are in charge of who's that crisis team that we can go to.
I think a lot of people get the idea that I am a county social worker that works for the county, and then I go to people's home and investigate whether there's child abuse. That is what some social workers do. That is not my role though within here at Catella. As a licensed clinical social worker, I am able to do therapy, I'm able to do risk assessments, threat assessment, and that basically means ensure the safety of a student here on campus, make sure that they don't want to harm themselves, harm someone else. And like I say, I always tell the kids, I want to listen to your story, I want to know you, I want to know your story. So in terms of warning signs, there's a lot sometimes that a kid will bring forth. They'll put it in writing, they'll put it in social media, they'll tell friends.
Experts say 4 out of 5 teens give clear warning signs that they are considering suicide. Warning signs include noticeable changes in eating and sleeping, withdrawal from family and friends, unexplained severe rebellious behavior, and talking or writing about suicide.
But there are those that live with this kind of silently and they go without giving any type of warning sign, so it could go either way.
We always talking to our teachers or to our colleagues if we see students that are, withdrawn, right? Or perhaps we see a big shift in their behavior, a big shift in their personality. And if you see those warning signs, then you talk to somebody.
Right now, Catella is saying, if you're facing a situation, have somebody know about it, but who knows if they actually do understand you.
Well, one time I ended up getting called out of class because the counselor wanted to talk to me because my parents thought I had something wrong, and they were right. But I didn't really have trust in telling the counselor something like that because it was just a one-time thing. But most of the time I just didn't really feel open because I wasn't really close on one-on-one with them. And I know that people there's programs and stuff that you can get help, but sometimes I feel it's hard.
The resources we have in place, of course, is a full-time LCSW. We have full-time school counselors that can also work with students in regards to, conducting general just kind of risk assessments, talking to them, seeing where their needs are.
Teachers should help students dealing with suicide by always referring them to the professional, our social worker, a person in charge of crisis, counselor.
Aside from in-school resources like places to go to and people to talk to, Ms. Cortez listed resources outside of Catella that students can go to.
Outside of school, there's so many clinics outside of school to support students for one-on-one therapy. There's groups outside of school as well. There are also programs that we could link them up to that are free of cost for them. So there's a ton of support. There's therapists that go to your home and meet with you at home if you feel uncomfortable going to the agency, So there's a ton of programs. It's just about figuring out the needs of the student and then the best fit for them.
As a staff, suicide is the last thing we'd ever want to deal with, we'd ever want to experience as educators, right? So we do our best to prevent that. We now have a full-time licensed clinician social worker, which is Ms. Cortez, and she's here full-time now and she's dedicated to our students. Not every school in the district has a full-time LCSW.
It's all about hearing their story and figuring out where they're at and figuring out, okay, what supports do they need? So everything is bringing up a game plan for them.
The students I interviewed gave examples of resources they would like Catella to provide. Resources include programs and someone to talk to, not just a teacher or administrator, but a trained professional. Today, Catella students have access to their licensed clinical social worker, Lorena Cortez.
I'm here with the counselors. I work really closely with the counselors, with the family liaison that we have here so that we could work with the family, and then our school psychologist, obviously, and with our administration team. So you can find me in the counseling center, and I have an open door policy.
Talk to someone about it, someone they trust, and know that whatever decision they make, to direct them to the right person, it's to, because they care about them.
Don't let others pull you down and say things that can literally affect you in the future, because that's not who you are. And don't think low of yourself.
Life is worth living, believe me. Things will get better, and you can make it better. A lot of it. Don't let life's circumstances dictate your life, but rather dictate life's circumstances.
Honestly feel that if you're able to have enough self-confidence and trust yourself and be happy with who you are, or just be okay in the end, then I do feel that you're able to proceed and be successful, and
Stop trying to find yourself and start creating yourself, and so that's kind of my starting point with them. It's we're no longer going to be looking for who you are, because that's going to, when are you going to find out who you are? But let's start creating the person that you want to be. So your story starts, and let's start creating it.